It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Luke has a question. This past year, I will have donated over $10,000 in charitable giving to my church.
Awesome.
When does it make sense to open up a charitable giving account?
So let me tell you how the charitable accounts are most often used, the mechanism, and Brian, you can talk about the when does it make sense to do that. So the way that charitable giving accounts are most often and most efficiently used is if instead of giving cash, you have highly appreciated assets that you can give. So most people, this is like stocks or ETFs or mutual funds. Maybe you bought it for $5,000 and now it's worth $10,000. You can make a donation of that appreciated security to the charitable gift fund. You'll get a $10,000 tax deduction in the year that you give it, and that $5,000 of capital gain is completely wiped away. You never have to pay tax on that. So it's a wonderfully efficient way to use a charitable giving account or a charitable gift fund or a donor advised fund. These are all different words for the same thing. That's how they are most often used. So with that, Brian, if someone's thinking, should I be a charitable giving account, donor advised fund, charitable gift fund user, what are some of the ways someone might know that that makes sense for them in their situation?
Yeah, first I want to congratulate Luke. You've made it through the first. I have like three things I quickly wrote down. The first was just having the intent. I mean, if you're giving $10,000 a year, it's awesome. You're charitably minded, you have the intent. So that leads to step two. Is that, hey, is there a better way to do this? Is always hunting for that better mousetrap, that maximization strategy. A lot of people don't realize that, even though you're very charitably minded, there's a chance. I don't know how big your mortgage is, if you even have a mortgage. You might not be able to itemize. A lot of people who are still charitably minded still can't itemize because itemized deductions have gotten so large. Now, look, you might still qualify for that front-end deduction of just a few $100s, but to truly itemize your taxes for a married couple, I mean, you're in mid-20 range.
Like 24, 25,000.
So I don't know, so you have to take into account what your taxes up to $10,000 plus if you have any mortgage interest plus the charity. A lot of people, even with $10,000, might not cross that threshold. So you ask yourself, well, wait a minute, maybe if I utilize the tool like a charitable giving account, I could stack my charitable giving. Now, that would require the discipline where maybe at one point you have to give $20,000 to the charitable gift fund. So then you could spread that giving out over the next year and a half to 2 years, and then keep, wash, and repeat that process over and over, because what that's going to do is allow you then to maximize itemization every other year. There's also what Bo was sharing with, we love it for people who have the charitable intent. It's a kind of a completely financial mutant maximization strategy. I love charitable gift funds because they let me give away appreciated securities. And we're just going through, you could partner this up with tax loss harvesting. If you've gone through volatility recently, you go ahead and harvest those losses, you reinvest that, and then you let that money, when we hit that rebound recovery, it's not unlikely that in a year after we hit the bottom of the market for you to have 40% capital gains in that account. That would be after you've held that account for 12 months, because remember, to give appreciated holdings, they need to be 12-month holdings or greater. You could give that money to appreciated money. Your charity gets to use it at the full fair market value. You never paid capital gains on that 40%, and you get a tax deduction on the full fair market value. And then here's where the extra points comes in. If you were already investing into that same investment, say like an index fund, and you were putting $10,000 into it a year, a few $100s a month, dollar cost averaging that totaled up to $10,000 a year, you could actually take the cash that you would have given to the charity to replenish what you gave to the charitable gift fund, because what that is going to allow you to do is to push up your basis higher. It's also going to create a dollar cost averaging strategy into not only building wealth, but also maximizing what you can give to charities and others.
I'm just going to add one other thing on top of that. So you said, when do I know? One is if you have appreciated securities. Two is if it might make sense for you to do a grouping strategy. Here's the third thing, and people don't often talk about this. If you give to a lot of different charities, let's say that across that $10,000, you gave to 25 or 30 different organizations throughout the year. It's really hard to come tax time to go get all the receipts from all of those. You can use, even if you're not doing one of these advanced strategies, even if you're not doing appreciated securities, you're not doing a grouping strategy, you may want to use a charitable gift fund just for consolidation on your taxes, because all that matters are the dollars that you put into the giving account. So even if you make 1,000 contributions into it, all that matters is the total. That's what comes off of your tax return. And it doesn't matter how many different distributions you make. So you could give it to 100 different organizations. You only have to keep track of the one number, and that's what you put into the account. So a lot of people like that because they don't have to collect all this different documentation from all these different organizations throughout the year.
And then the last thing is a lot of like your church might have an account that you could just give appreciated holdings to, but a lot of times they just want stock or ETF. They don't have the ability to take mutual funds. This allows you, if you have appreciated mutual funds, this is another tool that allows you to give to your favorite charities that overcomes that problem of that your appreciated assets are in a different structure than what the church or the organization actually has the ability to take.